Morning, Richard. Nice to see you.
Morning, Simon. Nice to see you.
I know last time we talked about pressing jackets.
Indeed.
Suit jackets and blazers. And this time we're just going to briefly run through pressing a pair of trousers.
Sure.
Now, I assume that pressing trousers is easier than a jacket because you don't have the linings, the canvas and so on.
Yeah, but you've still got to manipulate the cloth and make sure it's line correct.
Right, okay. And I know some people will have trouser presses at home, for example. That you'd endorse those. There's nothing wrong with using those as well.
They're fine. I think they're absolutely fine. They're certainly very good, Simon, for for getting that leg area done there.
Yeah. Okay.
Where there's so much at the top.
Yeah. Okay. The bottom sort of 2/3 or so getting a sharp crease.
That's right. Yeah. And good for travelling, aren't they? I know. When we travel, we sometimes use them actually in the hotel room. So no, for the legs, they're really very good.
Okay. Great. And in terms of then other types of garments we haven't covered, say for example overcoats or waistcoats, is there anything special that's different to steaming those, or are they pretty much the same as what we've already done with?
Pretty much the same. I mean, waistcoats you've got lining at the back, Ermsey lining at the back, so you've got to be mindful of that because that can move a little bit.
Okay.
Waistcoats are really very simple on the front. Very, very simple actually.
Yeah.
And overcoats really all you're talking about the same as the jacket, Simon, but it, on a bigger scale.
Right.
And you've got to be mindful if it's cashmere, it's going one way, and the brushing and that sort of stuff.
Right. Okay.
But no, it's just on a larger scale.
Right. Okay. Great. And then the last thing I wanted to ask about was. I know people talk about when you're travelling, say hanging up a suit in the shower, for example, give it a bit of steam.
Sure.
I've always found that not necessarily that effective. You have to build up quite a lot of steam to actually get an effect, don't you? Is that what you found, or do you use that method at all?
We know, absolutely we do. I mean, we travel all the time, as you know, to the States 3 times a year, so no, it is a useful tool for us to do, and we do hang our suits in the bathroom with lots of steam. Again, it depends on the fabric. Some fabrics are going to react to that a little bit better than others. But no, it is a handy tip. You've got to have a lot of steam in there.
Yeah.
You do.
How long do you leave it in for?
A small bathroom.
Normally
overnight, actually, and let the steam go.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, but you wouldn't run the water all night, but you sort of run for a bit.
No, not at all.
Make it steamy, then leave it in there all night, basically.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Great. Okay. Well, let's look at now the process of pressing the trousers.
Sure.
Okay. So we're looking now at the process of pressing the trousers. Now we're doing the tops of the trousers now, and again, as with the jacket, we're using that rounded cushion to do the tops of the trousers.
We are.
And you need that because you've got the curve through the waistband and the front of the trouser.
Over the hips, and over the hips, you can see Michael's pressing it over the hips there, and see how nicely the pleat falls in with the cushion, and you can manipulate it over the hips there. You've got a great shot of it. Just that slight round of a person's hips, he's absolutely got it. And that, that run on the side seam, he can keep that really, really very clean. And what Michael will do, he'll just work the trousers round the cushion, as you see, over the seat seam.
Right. Okay.
And you can do that to a certain extent. You can manipulate the a traditional ironing board to that, the pointy end of the ironing board.
Right.
But obviously not as well as you can with a cushion.
Okay, so if someone can buy a cushion like that, they can do it this way.
They can.
Otherwise, you can use the end of the ironing board, and I suppose
and just work it round.
Yeah. There's slightly less risk than doing, say, the chest of a jacket in this, isn't there? Because there isn't so much structure in there. You're unlikely to ruin anything if you do this on a trouser.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay,
but again,
great.
I would suggest a damp rag.
Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Yeah. So you'd wet a tea towel, wring it out, put it over the top of the cloth just to avoid any risk as well.
I really would.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, right. And then we'll look at the trousers in a minute. Tell me a bit about Michael. Has he been pressing for a very long time? Is this something he does a long time?
I mean, Michael is there's only a handful of hand pressers in the West End now.
Really?
And Michael is one of those. And Michael's been pressing for in excess of 35 years now. I've known him for 30 years. So no, Michael's probably been pressing 40 years actually.
Wow.
So he's a very skilled man. I mean, the pressing I always feel is somewhat undervalued in bespoke because a bad press at the end of a job can really kill a job. Actually, it really can, or it can really make a job. So it's a very important part of our process. And as I said, for Michael to press a coat fully will take him 40-45 minutes.
Wow. And I suppose it's a slightly less glamorous job compared to some of the tailors and cutters, isn't it?
It is.
There's a lot of young people coming into the industry at the moment, but presumably not many who say they want to become
a presser. No. They are kind of unsung heroes, really.
Yeah.
But it's what they do is right at the end of the process, Simon. The coat's been made, the suit's been made, and then it goes to the presser to press it. So there's a big responsibility for him to get it right, and very skilled job.
Okay. So we're looking now at pressing the trouser. Yes. Obviously, the trouser line is relatively straightforward compared to the other parts we looked at before. Yeah. Again, we said you could do that in a trouser press if you wanted. But we're interested in the point now. There's a curve you want to get into the leg, isn't there?
Which you can see just there. You can see how Michael's angled the leg, so the outside leg is not straight. There's a slight angle where it comes into the knee.
Right.
And if that wasn't there, you would get the effect of the trouser bowing over the knee.
Right. So it's kicking it, so it's curving forwards into the shoe. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's coming into the knee, and you can see that nice round we've got there.
Yeah.
So when you are pressing your trouser at home, don't put it flat on the board. Just give it that little curl. You can see Michael. There'll be a little bit of fullness at the knee area, which Michael is shrinking away there. But again, that can be done with a domestic iron.
Right.
Well.
Okay.
But it's just a little bit, and you can see that now.
Yeah. Okay. So you curve a little bit. You'll create that little bit of fullness, and then when you put a lot of heat and steam through it, effectively shrinks the wall a little bit.
That's
and you get that curve very
That's
nicely.
That's it. And then it will fall beautifully. The trouser will fall beautifully through the knee and front of the leg area.
Fantastic. Okay. I mean, it's a nice thing, I think, particularly to press a trouser, because it's fairly easy to do.
Yes.
And it gives a really nice effect, isn't it? Because you see that sharp crease more than you see anything,
That's
that
right.
crease anywhere else in the rest of the garments, which is nice.